Welcome to a journey into one of science's most fascinating frontiers, where quantum physics meets microbiology. Today, we'll explore how bacteria, organisms we once considered primitive, are actually communicating through light itself. These microscopic beings emit ultra-weak photons that function as quantum messengers, creating sophisticated networks invisible to the human eye. This discovery challenges our fundamental understanding of both bacterial intelligence and quantum physics in biological systems. Join us as we illuminate this hidden world where the smallest life forms may be nature's most sophisticated quantum engineers. Our story begins in the 1920s when Russian scientist Alexander Gurwitsch first detected what he called mitogenetic radiation, extremely faint light emissions from living cells. His findings were largely dismissed by the scientific community until the 1970s when German biophysicist Fritz Albert Popp developed highly sensitive photomultiplier technology capable of detecting these ultra-weak signals. Popp confirmed that all living cells emit what he termed biophotons, particles of light roughly 1,000 times dimmer than what the human eye can detect. These aren't the dramatic light displays we associate with fireflies or deep-sea creatures, but something far more subtle and fundamental. Bacteria, in particular, showed structured emission patterns that changed in response to their environment and neighboring colonies. These emissions typically range from 200 to 800 nanometers, spanning the ultraviolet to near-infrared spectrum, wavelengths that correspond precisely to the absorption spectra of many critical biological molecules. What makes these bacterial light emissions so remarkable is that they aren't random. Research has revealed that these biophotons exhibit patterns suggesting they function as a primitive yet sophisticated communication network. Dr. Elena Toma at the University of Toronto has documented that when these emissions are artificially suppressed, bacterial coordination diminishes dramatically. This suggests biophotons serve a genuine communicative purpose rather than merely representing metabolic byproducts. The intensity of these emissions is astonishingly low, typically just a few hundred photons per square centimeter per second, existing at the very threshold of detectability. Yet despite their faintness, these signals appear to carry information that bacteria use to coordinate their activities across colonies. Perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of bacterial biophotons is their quantum coherence properties. Studies conducted at MIT and the Weizmann Institute of Science have documented that these light emissions display quantum entanglement characteristics, where particles remain connected so that actions performed on one affect the other, regardless of distance. This finding directly challenges conventional wisdom that held quantum coherence could only exist in highly controlled, near absolute zero laboratory conditions. The warm, wet environment of living cells was thought to be too chaotic for delicate quantum states to persist. Yet bacteria appear to have evolved sophisticated mechanisms to protect these quantum states from environmental decoherence. Quantum biologist Dr. John Joe McFadden suggests that bacterial cells may leverage specialized proteins containing light-trapping chromophores that function as quantum-maintaining microenvironments. These structures potentially shield quantum coherent states from thermal noise, allowing quantum effects to persist long enough to serve biological functions. The discovery of quantum coherence in bacterial biophotons has sparked interest in whether these organisms may be utilizing other quantum phenomena like quantum tunneling, superposition, or even rudimentary quantum computation. Experiments at the University of California, Berkeley, have shown that when two previously separated bacterial colonies are allowed to exchange biophotons, they synchronize their gene expression patterns faster than could be explained by chemical diffusion alone. This suggests that quantum communication may provide a speed advantage in microbial coordination. Unlike our digital computing systems that operate on binary logic, quantum bacterial communication appears to function more like a probability wave, with information encoded in patterns of coherence and interference. This allows for a form of parallel processing that might explain how relatively simple organisms can exhibit complex, coordinated behaviors across vast colonies. Dr. Micah Prentice at the University of California has conducted groundbreaking experiments demonstrating that bacterial quantum communication is real and functionally significant. When bacterial colonies are separated by optically transparent barriers that block chemical signals, they still coordinate behaviors like biofilm formation and virulence expression through biophotonic signals. We're seeing evidence that suggests bacteria aren't just chemical machines. They're also quantum communicators, notes Prentice. This represents a fundamental shift in how we conceptualize microbial intelligence. These experiments provide compelling evidence that light itself serves as a communication channel between bacterial cells, independent of the chemical signaling pathways we've long studied. The speed and efficiency of this light-based communication system may explain how bacteria can rapidly coordinate responses across large populations, such as shifting virulence factors or antibiotic resistance mechanisms in unison. If bacteria have indeed evolved quantum communication systems, it suggests that quantum effects may have played a role in the earliest forms of life on Earth. Some researchers, including Dr. Stuart Hameroff at the University of Arizona, propose that quantum mechanisms may have been fundamental to the origin of life itself, potentially explaining how complex, coordinated behaviors could emerge from simple molecular systems. This quantum perspective on bacterial behavior has profound implications for evolutionary biology. It suggests that nature has been innovating with quantum mechanics for billions of years, long before humans began exploring quantum physics. The ability to maintain and utilize quantum effects at room temperature for biological advantage may represent one of evolution's most sophisticated achievements. This raises fascinating questions about whether quantum communication might be an ancient feature that predates chemical signaling systems in the evolution of life. The discovery of bacterial quantum communication opens remarkable new avenues for medical research. Certain antibiotics that don't directly kill bacteria but disrupt their signaling show unexplained effectiveness. The mechanism may involve disruption of the biophotonic network rather than chemical pathways as previously assumed. Dr. Lydia Chen at Johns Hopkins University has pioneered research into quantum-disrupting compounds that specifically target bacterial light emission capabilities. In preliminary studies, these compounds have shown promise against antibiotic-resistant bacteria by effectively blinding the microbes to each other's presence, preventing them from coordinating the formation of protective biofilms or expressing virulence factors in unison. This approach represents a fundamentally different strategy in our battle against pathogenic bacteria. Instead of trying to kill them directly, we might simply disrupt their ability to communicate and coordinate, rendering them far less dangerous to human health. Perhaps more revolutionary is the emerging evidence that human cells may be responsive to bacterial biophotons. Research at the Karolinska Institute in Sweden has demonstrated that human neutrophils respond differently to bacterial infections when the bacteria's biophotonic emissions are blocked versus when they're permitted. This suggests our own cells may be listening to these quantum bacterial conversations. This challenges the long-held assumption that bacterial human cell communication occurs exclusively through chemical signals and physical contact. It appears that light itself may be an overlooked communication channel in biology, potentially opening new therapeutic approaches for modulating the human microbiome through optical rather than chemical interventions. The implications for our understanding of the human microbiome relationship are profound. Our bodies may be engaged in constant quantum communication with the trillions of bacteria that inhabit us, with light serving as the medium for this cross-kingdom dialogue. As we continue to explore this microscopic quantum network, we may discover that the most sophisticated quantum computers on Earth have been operating beneath our feet all along. From an information theory standpoint, bacterial biophoton networks represent a fascinating case study in biological information processing. Unlike our current quantum computing efforts that require extreme conditions, bacteria appear to perform quantum operations at room temperature. This could potentially inspire biocomputing systems that harness bacterial quantum communication for information processing, leapfrogging current limitations in quantum computing. Imagine quantum computers that operate not in sterile laboratory environments at near absolute zero temperatures, but in living systems at room temperature. Bacteria may have already solved many of the challenges that currently limit our quantum computing technology, offering invaluable insights for future technological development. The emerging field of bacterial quantum biology opens several other promising research directions. In agriculture, beneficial soil bacteria could be quantum enhanced to better support plant growth through improved coordination with root systems. These enhanced bacteria might communicate more effectively with plants, optimizing nutrient delivery and protecting against pathogens through more coordinated responses. In diagnostic medicine, tools that detect disease by measuring disruptions in cellular biophoton patterns may catch infections earlier than conventional methods. These quantum diagnostic approaches could potentially detect subtle changes in the body's microbial communities before symptoms appear, allowing for earlier intervention. The ability to read the quantum signatures of bacterial communities might provide entirely new windows into both environmental and human health, detecting imbalances and pathologies at their earliest stages. As we stand at the threshold of understanding these luminous conversations of microbes, we are reminded that nature has been innovating with quantum mechanics for billions of years. The humble bacterium, once considered the simplest of life forms, may prove to be among our most sophisticated quantum engineers and our most outstanding teachers in harnessing the fundamental forces of the universe for biological purposes. What we're discovering challenges the artificial boundaries between physics and biology, suggesting that quantum effects aren't merely exotic phenomena confined to physics laboratories but may be fundamental to life itself. Bacteria may have evolved to exploit quantum mechanical properties that we've only recently begun to understand, using the fundamental behavior of light to create communication networks of remarkable sophistication and efficiency. The discovery of bacterial quantum communication represents one of the most profound scientific revelations of our time, a convergence of quantum physics and biology that challenges our fundamental understanding of life. These microscopic organisms, which we once viewed as primitive, are utilizing light itself to create sophisticated communication networks with quantum properties previously thought impossible in living systems. As we've explored throughout this video, bacteria aren't merely chemical machines but quantum communicators that may have been harnessing quantum effects for billions of years. This discovery opens extraordinary possibilities across multiple fields, from revolutionary medical treatments that target bacterial communication rather than bacterial life, to agricultural applications that enhance beneficial soil microbes, to advanced biocomputing systems that operate at room temperature. Perhaps most profound is the suggestion that our own cells may be responsive to these bacterial light signals, indicating that quantum light communication could be an overlooked dimension of our relationship with our microbiome. The humble bacterium, it seems, may be nature's most sophisticated quantum engineer, offering lessons that could transform technology, medicine, and our understanding of life itself. As we continue to decipher these luminous conversations occurring beneath our notice, we may find that the quantum world and the biological world are far more intimately connected than we ever imagined. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates. Your feedback is appreciated. We hope to see you again.